well-known movie from the 80s, a character is very fond of saying, "We're on a mission from God." Hopefully you recognize that as Elwood in the Blues Brothers. He feels that his mission is to save the nuns and the convent. It's a children's home, actually, I think. But he thinks he's going to save that, and so they're on a mission from God. I'm not sure that is quite what God would think as a mission from God. But none of us can really tell because we don't know what God is thinking. But what I know is that just like Abraham and Sarah received messengers from God in this morning's reading, the people of this area and the people of Kentucky have received messengers from God. I know that's a pretty bold statement, thinking that I can speak on behalf of God. But based upon what I have seen in the past 2 weeks, I can tell you that we were doing God's work. We were on a mission from God. Whether it's the 19 kids and 6 adults that spent 10 days driving to and from Kentucky and working in Kentucky, or the 74 elementary school kids who were here for Vacation Bible School last week, or the 19 kids in middle school who spent the week at middle school summer service camp, or the countless number of adults that worked to put all of that together, we know we were messengers. This morning we hear about Abraham and Sarah receiving 3 people who at first they aren't sure who they are. But Abraham quickly realizes that he is standing on holy ground and that he is in the presence of God. That's impressive to think that he recognized that so quickly. I'm not sure I would have done that quick. But if we look at other messengers, let's move forward a couple thousand years to when God sends another messenger, his son, Jesus Christ, to be a messenger to the people of Israel, to a group of people who he is there to say, you need to love your neighbor as yourself and to love God as well. I know, I got those 2 commandments backwards, but it's the first one that I want to focus on. Presiding Bishop Michael Curry talks about the Jesus movement, that it was founded 2,000 years ago with a band of stragglers following a man. And that he likes to say that today we are the Episcopal branch of the current Jesus movement. But what he says is, God came among us in the person of Jesus of Nazareth to show us the way. He came to show us the way to life, the way to love. He came to show us the way beyond what often can be the nightmares of our own devising and into the dream of God's intending. That's why when Jesus called his first followers, he did it with the simple words, "Follow me." Today, we still accept those words from Jesus to follow him. 9 months ago, when we started looking at where we were going to go on a mission trip this summer, The kids said, we want to go someplace where we can do work. So we said, fine. We were going to go to Kentucky. And we went to Kentucky as messengers. And on this trip, the kids learned that you don't need to be connected to Wi-Fi, connected to your phones, connected to your computers to be able to love. They learned how to love each other without all of those things. It's something that for any of us growing up before electronic devices, we learned. We learned that you have to find things to do. You need to go out and play pickup basketball or pick up baseball or any number of things to entertain yourself. I've never been on a mission trip like this one, where the kids would sit around a table and sing songs. They entertain themselves in a way I've never seen on a mission trip. They learned to love each other. And in doing that, they loved their God. Some of the kids stayed at a day camp and worked with the local kids because there's not really much to do for the kids in that area. And so they did simple activities like playing hide and seek outside, as long as you stayed out of the poison ivy. They also learned to love and listen to these young people who were wise beyond their years. There was a little boy named Little Britches who none of us really knew his real name until someone said, oh, that's Shane. Well, Little Britches was a second grader who was homeschooled, and he knew everything about everything in that area. And it wasn't a know-it-all kind of sense. It was just, this is what I know. And he was happy to impart what he knew to anybody who would listen, because he shared the love of God. Other kids went and put a roof on a house. Now they all say that anybody who needs a roof, they'll be more than happy to do it. I would say, go ahead. Just be careful. But the one day, the homeowner came out and she started crying. And she said, this isn't about a roof. She talked about seeing the face of Christ in every one of those kids. Unbeknownst to us, she had been in the house the whole time, listening to the kids talk to each other. And she said, I've never seen a group of kids that don't fight. They support each other. They love each other. And when somebody makes a mistake, I heard them say, it's okay, we can fix this together. She said, you are a messenger of God. She said, this roof to me is a roof. It will make my house dry again. But it is more than that. She said, the leaks in the roof were coming down and ruining the walls in my house. On those walls were the pictures of my parents, the pictures of my grandparents that are becoming ruined by water. And by you putting a roof on the house will allow me to keep those memories alive. The kids learned it's not about what we may be doing, it's about all the other effects. Then we got back here and we immediately started Vacation Bible School. And we had 74 kindergarten through 5th graders here singing and learning all about different Bible stories, catching the wave of God's amazing love. It was a powerful moment to watch these kids come in and fill this sanctuary and sing and scream and dance and do all kinds of things. because they were here to learn about the love of God. And immediately after Vacation Bible School, we started summer service camp for the middle schoolers. And we had 19 middle school kids who were learning how to serve Christ, how to begin the journey to walk with Christ. They would spend the mornings mentoring little children. In the afternoons, we would go to any number of places. We went to Fort Washington Estates, where these kids interacted with senior citizens, some as old as 100 years old, who acted younger than our middle school kids. It was a joyous experience where the kids learned that God's love is everywhere. They learned to be messengers. I heard them talking about church to people. I don't know about you, but that's pretty impressive to me. Middle schoolers don't talk about God in church. They were. We also went and did yard work. I don't know about you, but most teens, when I was a teen, the last thing I wanted to do was mow the grass in this weather. And yet they were